Welcome back to Property Playbook. We're your hosts, Elena Saradidis.
And Erica Reddy-Choquette.
And today we have a very special guest. We have Catherine from Listed. She is the founder and CEO. And I can't wait to tell you all about this incredible app because I can tell you personally, all my clients are on it.
Amazing.
I love it. And I find it so interesting because when it first kind of came into the world of technology and real estate, I kind of thought to myself, how is this different from House Sigma? I'm sure you get that all the time. So maybe walk us through Listed, what it is, how it came to be.
Oh, sure. Well, right off the hop, it's not a brokerage. So that's a huge difference, right? You have these other apps that your clients are using, and they don't realize it's actually a brokerage tied to a brokerage, and they are a lead that then is given to an agent at that brokerage. So intention is everything. So how did it come to be? I was literally walking down the street and I saw this cute little house and I thought, oh my God, maybe I could afford that. And I saw the sign and I thought, I'll call the number because I'd like to go in and see it like right now. Maybe the realtor's right around the corner. So I call and I'm really shocked when I get the front desk and they don't even know what house I'm standing in front of. And I just saw the number. I didn't even see the name of the street. So front desk waited as I walked down to the corner and got the name of the street. And then she looked it up and then she was going to have someone page to call me. And I was thinking, what are we in 1982? And then anyway, I thought, why didn't I just Google this? So then when I Googled it, imagine, I Google it. What do I find? 5,000 different agents selling the same house.
Mm-hmm. You're like, who's the listing agent?
And then that's the other thing. Who is the listing agent? And how come we think we're supposed to reach the listing agent? So I learned all these things about real estate. And if you call the listing agent, they're working for the seller. They're not actually working for the buyer. They're there to kind of help you. And anyway, as a consumer, this is the biggest purchase of your life. You want information, you want to get it quickly. And for me, I knew two things. I just wanted to get in and see it. I saw somebody inside and I started thinking, gosh, this is so frustrating. Why don't I just knock on the door and talk to them? Like you can see where that impetus of I'm going to go talk to the other person comes. But I knew I don't know anything about real estate. I need a professional, right? So I would have probably worked with the first agent, unless they were terrible, that came my way because I would have nothing to know differently. Yeah. So I just wanted a magic button I could push and have the property come up and then my agent at the bottom so I could reach them if I had a question. So essentially we made that. And I kind of like it to just be, I could go anywhere in the world, tap a button and get my agent.
Well, the way I met Catherine's a little bit different. So Catherine was introduced to me by my old brokerage at the time. So I was at Brad Lamb. And she was basically brought in to say, if Elena can be convinced that this is a great app, then we'll invest in it.
You know you're a great agent when your broker of record is saying, can you see if our best agent likes this or not?
So they're like, Elena, you go sit with Catherine and figure out if you like this app. And I'm like, okay, another app, another whatever. And I fully was like, I'm not going to like this already, but you want me to do this, that's fine. I'm going to remember this. So we have coffee right next.
Coffee.
Yeah, we had coffee at Shy, right next to the office. Yep. And Catherine pulls up the app and I'm like, wait, I know you. And she goes, well, did you ever show in the building that I'm in? Like I'm in that building all the time. Yeah. And I go, at 1030 King? Like I'm there all the time. What do you mean? And I go, oh my God, you've shown me this app 3 years ago.
I don't let anyone escape me.
Yeah, no. So she actually attacked me in the building lobby. It's a true story. She attacked me and goes, you know what's really great, and this is so good for you to have as an agent and put your clients on. This fantastic app that lets you see every single property that they want to see in real time right in front of you.
With you.
With me. Now, again, at that moment, I didn't even think twice about it. I was like, okay, like great, another real estate app. Like I guess I'll download it. And then fast forward to this time where I'm sitting in front of her and she's like, listen, try the app. Just try it. I'm not asking you to do anything more than that. I'll put you on it. Just try it out and then let me know what you think of it. And then I get on this app and I'm just like, oh my God, this is Tinder for real estate. Like you swipe right if you like the property, swipe left if you don't. You know exactly what happens to the properties that you swipe right on. If I'm standing in front of a property and I go, what's currently in my location, it will tell me what's currently available in that location right in front of me. It was a game changer, but not just for the consumer. I felt it was a game changer for the agent.
Efficiency.
So let's say, for example, and we've all had these moments, Erica, we're running late to a showing, and then all of a sudden, you're like, okay, like I didn't have enough time to pull all the comps for the property, all the comps for the listing. I literally go into listed, last 30 days, what has sold, what is available, what's happening. And I know it all off the top of my head. We passed a for sale sign. I could check it out on the way to the property. It could have just sold. And like that to me was like, it doesn't just save time for the consumer. It saves time for the agent. So
I think the important piece is what I like the most about it is we are not gatekeepers of information. I think for so long there was this notion of like, okay, you need your agent to get the information. And I am such a proponent of, no, you need technology to provide the information, to help the consumer get the information and the agent get the information, but live time, same time. I don't need to be like, oh, well, Catherine, I know what this went for. And like, and you're like, no, but I just want to see too. You want to flip the pictures and see it all. So I think that's the piece that also makes it such a great tool. And to your point, even if you get to the showing and you haven't had the time to run the comps and you love the house, okay, boom, you can get into the app, run it, see the comps live. It's just so easy to work with and use. And I mean, we've played around with it a lot where you can open up, you can draw with your finger. Like it works, I think, the way we work, as humans. You want things that are really at the tips of your fingers. And that's listed to me.
You hit on such a great point with this idea of making it easy and access to information, because one of the things that I found out when I started looking at the real estate industry is that when you have a product or a company or a service, you can innovate or you can prevent your competitors from doing something. So instead of, it was access over innovation. So people who couldn't innovate were controlling access in a way so that they didn't have to innovate. And that's why when we think about real estate, banking, like some of the big industries that seemed really backwards until recently, it's because they actually stifled innovation from within. So in a strange way, we need to help these industries overcome themselves. And that was actually, we spoke earlier, and to your point about House Sigma being a brokerage, why we're not a brokerage. We're not a brokerage. It is actually so hard to make a product for realtors and not be a brokerage because the system itself is set up so that information is always accessible through that brokerage or through that avenue. Even MLSs don't cooperate the same way you brokerages in one MLS cooperate with each other. You can see properties from any brokerage. As soon as you have neighboring MLSs, they're not cooperating. So you could be in an area, it happens in Toronto, but you could be in an area like Oakville and all of a sudden not see as an agent who's part of a real estate board half the inventory. So there are these challenges. And I would say what really makes us different and distinct is that when I stood in front of that house, I wanted someone to help me. What I learned is they couldn't actually help me. So instead of going direct to consumer as a company who wants to improve real estate, I thought, let's help the industry do what it can't do for itself by aligning the interests of you and your clients together, because then everyone wins the day. Innovatively.
And to your point, I think we are the kind of people where, you stand in front of a house, you drive by a house, the first thing you do is you pull up your phone, and then if it's like your experience, you're like, okay, it's 118. 118 what? I don't know, because I just drove down the street. Okay, now, great. And you could spend half an hour or get tired or frustrated or forget it, or where now you can open it up, boom, 118. You don't have to do that because it knows exactly where you are. Up comes the listing, up comes the information. Then to your point, boom, there's your agent at the bottom. Super, super easy. Even so user-friendly.
Even driving around, like if you just wanted to see open houses and you were out for brunch and you thought, oh, I wonder what's in the neighborhood. And instead of looking for those little signs everywhere, you can just go in your filter to your favorite safe search or wherever the neighborhood, put on show open houses only, and all the open houses will just pop up as you're going by.
Yeah, because I mean, let's be honest. Who goes out on a Saturday and it's like, I'm going to drive around and I'm going to look for signboards that are at the height of my car wheel.
Wait, you mean you don't do that?
I don't. It gives a purpose to people's search, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It's not only that, there is another feature of the app that I actually really like, and I've told you this in the past. I have my favorite house, the house that I will buy one day. It is not on the market. It has never been on this. And I know we've talked about it on this podcast before.
Is it on your watch list on Listed?
It's on my watch list, but this is the thing. So on listed, you could literally look up an address and flag it. And if it ever pops up on the market again, it will notify you. So yes, I'm an agent. I could have put it up on 100 different searches. I could have done whatever. But like the fact that I could just be like minding my own business in the middle of the day and then get alerted that the house is available for sale.
Yeah.
That's great. So yeah, I have my favorite house, the one that I will buy one day, favorited unlisted. It is a
You're
thing.
not the only person that does that goes, listen, on this street or on this area or this house. And, you know, to your point, yes, we can run all these different searches, but nobody wants to every day be like, refresh, check this. Check. You just want it pushed to you when it's there.
Exactly. I just want that specific house on the market when it comes up on the market. That's it.
Tomorrow or in 4 years.
100%.
Yeah.
I don't know when it will come up, but it will. And when it does, I want to be notified.
Do you know, there was an agent the other day who said, oh my God, I cannot believe it. My client just called me and said, can we put an offer on this? And sent the listing. And they had got a notification a property was back on the market. And bless the agent, like they called me to say, okay, I get it now. Thank you so much. I'm so happy for this. So it's those kinds of events that make me really happy because that just saved everyone time. They got to put an offer in right away. And you know, timing is everything. If you don't act fast, that could make the difference between getting it or not getting it.
Yeah.
And the other nice thing is like this is really agent to consumer. So if you've worked with this agent before and they've set you up on this profile, they can see what you're looking at as well.
Or when you like things or have a safe search.
Or they even active. What are you constantly clicking on? Which is a really good thing for us too, because sometimes you can't articulate exactly what you want, but you keep circling back to the same property. So we know at least to have a conversation about it.
Yeah.
We know at least to be like, you know what? I keep seeing that you're looking this up. Do you want to go see it?
Yeah.
Like, let's go see it together. There's no pressure. But at least this way you can get it out of your head because you keep thinking about it.
Well, and there have been times, honestly, that I've thought to myself, I wonder if I should send this listing. I don't know. I'm on the fence as an agent about a property and I don't want to, kind of be irritating and be like, what do you think about this if I'm not really sure of it myself for them? But then the beauty is, to your point, you're back into the back end of the listed app and you're like, oh, Elena's actually looked at this property 3 or 4 times. Okay, we're both kind of on the same page. We're both kind of dithering about this, not sure why. And then I typically am like, hey, I just want to put this in front of you. And you're like, oh, actually, I was just looking at it. I wasn't sure about this. You know what? I wasn't sure about it either, but I still wanted to. And it allows you to really bring conversation in and also kind of, okay, yeah, you're interested in that. So I flagged it and it was a good one to flag. Or you know what, you've opened it and haven't liked it. So then I don't even need to worry about flagging it. I just think it makes the backside of things so much more productive.
And I'm sure we've all had this, and I'm sure anyone listening to this has had this happen. You go on realtor.ca, you like a property, you could like 100 properties, and then all of a sudden one day it disappears. And you have zero idea what happened to it.
Yes.
You don't know if it got terminated. You don't know if it got relisted. You don't know what happened. It just disappeared from the face of the planet.
You also don't remember the address.
No.
So you can't actually, that's what I always find is someone's like, so there was this property over at this intersection. I'm like, great. Okay, that really narrows it down. I think it was red brick. Also, no idea. Where to your point, if it's saved in a search, saved in a list, all of a sudden it's sold or terminated or expired, you've got lifetime updates. You know exactly what's happening.
And the app will also give you the ability to look at its history. So we can see when was it sold last? How did it look last? Did they put in money for the renovation? How did it look before they tried to sell it now? Like you can get a better idea of what they're looking to actually get because you as a consumer have access to all of that information. It's not just about your agent being like, listen, they did renos. Look at it for yourself.
Yeah.
They did renos. Like, this is not cheap. How much do you think this is worth? Now it's worth a lot more than what you were thinking originally. You can see how much they paid. How much money did they put into it? Now how much do they want? So like, it's a different conversation. It's about transparency. It's about opening it up. It doesn't have to be guarded information.
No.
Like people are working with us, not just because we're the gatekeepers to the info. They're working with us because we have the expertise to be able to tell them this information tells us X, Y, Z, and this is why you need to know it. And this is what makes it important to know. Like there is bigger factors than just these are the listings and this is how much they sold for. Have you been inside the properties? What problems do they have? Do they have high-tech plumbing? Like there's certain things that you wouldn't know unless you were an agent that's active in the industry.
Absolutely. Yeah. But I also think that a buyer going forward and putting in an offer also wants all this information at their fingertips too.
Yeah.
And then to your point, it's the dialogue that we have with that information because, I can remember prior to all these apps, it would be like, okay, it's offer time. I'd practically print out 100 different listings and circle things and highlight things and X this and this, that, and like create my own like current market analysis. Now it's like, okay, let's just jump in this together. Live time, scroll the picture. It just makes it so much easier. You're still having the same conversation. You're still needing to educate to the point of this is why the house is worth X or not worth X. It hasn't removed that part of the equation. It's just made it easier to get the information there to have the conversation.
Exactly, because time is finite. So the more you can cover in faster ground, the more information you have, the better intelligent decisions you make, and the more effective you are.
Yeah, absolutely. And so now I'm super curious because I don't know this.
Yeah.
What had you, so I know you stood in front of this house and this whole thing came to you. What's your background prior to putting this app together? Because I find this fascinating, the pivots that people make.
Yeah, I'm an artist.
Love it.
You know, when you think about Lascaux and the cave paintings, right? Art and how we're going to live is essential to human being, right? I think artists are the visionaries of the world. We see what's out there, we're curious, we ask questions, and then we translate what we're experiencing. And once we translate what we're experiencing, and I say, does that make sense? Is that what's happening to you? Then we sit back and we're able to transform it into something that then becomes tangible, real. Like you take action, you take an idea and make it actionable. And that is where the boundary of art meets business, because all of a sudden something becomes useful, it becomes validated, it has value to people, the cost is minimal when the value is great, people pay for it, and then you have a business. So I went to art school. And I got into basically companies, right when I got out of art school, hired me and others to come up with ideas and harvest us for IP.
Wow.
And it was really crazy. So I worked on a project with Philips Design in the Netherlands, and then that led me to starting my first startup, because after we'd come up with ideas and then see that, oh, they're just basically filing IP patents for the future, I thought, why let them do that and have me have the ideas, even though I'm an inventor on the patent? I thought, why can't I go out in the world and do this? And so my first company actually was in the travel industry. But then when I had this experience in real estate, one thing just leads to another, because you have lots of ideas. Like, if I wasn't doing this, I have 10 more ideas that are all in a row that I can't wait to do. So I think it's this idea of seeing a need and turning it into something useful for a large group of people that's going to have a big impact in the world, because literally where we live is who we become and who we are.
Yeah.
So it really matters. If you don't get that home that is back on the market, or you can't connect and you can't make a decision quickly, or you miss it because you didn't know, does it affect where your children go to school and who their friends are and what they become? Like, it's meaningful. And you as professionals, how can you show up and have some other app have more information than you with your own tools that you're provided? So I'm proud and happy to say that we're connected to real estate boards across Canada. So every agent on listed has the most information on and now off market in a compliant manner for their clients. So you never miss anything.
I mean, I think it's fascinating because, to your point, you've tied such a creative mind into a technology and kind of melded the two.
And what she's not mentioning too is when she got into the app, she actually got licensed to figure out what actually we need as agents.
Goodness.
So this is the part that, like, you know, most people don't know about Catherine is she was like, I'm going to go undercover and figure out the real needs agents have, and then combine, like, as the consumer, what was I missing?
Wow.
As the agent, what's missing? Where can I connect it? And that's what she did. She found a tool that could connect real estate agents and their clients in a more transparent manner
to
they can collaborate and see what's currently on the market.
Yeah.
So once again,
I mean, I think it's super cool. The one last thing
Oh
before,
my
no,
God.
one, I've got
Okay.
one last, because I think it's really
We're gonna bring her back.
Well, that too, absolutely. But for those that are listening that are going, how on earth do I get listed? Get my hands on listed, access listed. Let's end it there. So I'll throw that to you, Catherine.
Oh, you want to go to your agent and download it. Yeah.
So we'll leave the links in the bio for your access. And if you're an agent looking on how to acquire listed for your clients, contact Catherine directly. We'll have a promo code.
Sure.
I'm now asking for a promo code. I'm negotiating for you. Don't worry, guys. We've got you covered.
You see it, it will happen. Yeah.
Once again, it's Elena Saradidis.
And Erica Reddy-Choquette.
And today we had the CEO, the founder of Listed, Catherine, who, in my opinion, invented Tinder for real estate with us. And we can't wait to bring her back next week.